All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Yakin with Yukon. Good to see everybody. We've already got some people in the chat. We've got Dre. What's up, Dre? Suel's Geek Vault. Guys, if you haven't seen Dre and Dre's channel, Suel's Geek Vault, please go subscribe to him. And we've got Gary's Grails. What's up, Gary? Gary, I like your new logo. I love the G.I. Joe thing, man. It looks great. So I wonder where you got that idea from. Dave's Dimension. What's up, Dave? Good to have you here. All right, guys. So here we go again. Sunday evening. There's G Force. What's up, Mark? Got a big guest for you guys tonight. We've got Seth Bayer, who recently got back into the YouTube thing. So we're going to talk all about that. And really looking forward to talking with Seth. I've actually never met him. We talked for a couple of minutes backstage, but if you guys don't know who this guy is, you've been living under a rock, to be honestly, because he's been around a while. He's done a lot of good things in YouTube. And personally, I'm glad he's back. I think he's a vital part of our toy community. So, really happy to have him on the show tonight. Let's welcome a couple other people. Mr. Fantastic, what's up, my man? We've got Chris from Everything's Plastic, and we've got the man Collects, who will be on the show June 18th, I believe it is. June 11th, June 18th, somewhere there. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and bring in the guest of honor, Seth Bayer. What's up,
man? Wow, what a dramatic intro that was, huh?
Dude, I've been saying, man, if you come on this show, you get your own entrance, man. It's like WWE. I'll bring you in with some style, buddy.
That's cool. That's cool, man. I'm digging that. That's awesome.
I'm glad you like it.
I first of all, I appreciate the kind words. I mean, everybody. It's funny. Everybody sees me in this big light except for myself. I'm just a guy that likes to have fun with what I do. That's it. It's not like I'm this big to do, but I appreciate the kind words. So thank you.
Absolutely, man. I mean, all of it. You've been around a while. I got to tell you, I'll be honest with you, I haven't followed you that long. It's been for a little while. How long have you been doing the YouTube thing?
Oh man. Before the break, it was about 5 years.
Okay.
So I mean, it was 5 years of getting integrated to the way things are done on YouTube, learning all the ins and outs, and just trying to find my I guess my voice, my place in the YouTube community. So and it always takes people sometimes that's and it's the funny thing too. People always have, like, when they're starting out, they have like real high expectations that they're gonna hit it big, right out of the gate. It doesn't work like that. You've got to put the time and the effort, and you got to keep the content fresh, and you've got to do stuff that helps you stand out from everyone else. Right. So you do get noticed. So I mean, it's been a wild ride.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And you're absolutely right. I mean, I think all of us get the same idea. Once you get into YouTube, you don't realize how much work it actually is. And you don't realize that it's going to take a while. I've told this story before, but when I started, I was like, oh, I'm going to be like 20,000 subs in like a month. You're so delusional to it.
You know what it is? It's just that again, you see, and again, you always listen to everybody's, stories. All it takes is one video for you to go viral, and then the rest, the rest is history. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work like that, So again, a lot of people go into this with unrealistic expectations. So
definitely, man, definitely. What were your expectations? We'll get to the second time around, but the first time around,
sure.
What were your expectations initially?
It's kind of difficult to say because George, on MCE, George started that channel, and George had a very different I guess idea of what he wanted that channel to be. He wanted it to be like where there was a guy who does statues, there was a guy who does Funko, there was a guy who does comics, just a mix of people, of different people on the same channel. And it didn't obviously go according to that plan. But then me and him just kind of said, screw it, let's do it ourselves. And we hit the ground running. I mean, George focused on more of the the statues and the higher end stuff, and I was dealing with the pops and the action figures. And again, it's just going through the motions, being consistent. One thing anyone always asks me, especially when they're starting YouTube, I always tell people consistency is everything. Pick a day and then make sure you drop a video on that day. That way people get acclimated to you dropping your content on that days, and they can expect videos from you on that day. And then once you get into that routine, then you could worry about, okay, you know what, maybe I have some extra time this week, maybe I could put out another video. But it's really about consistency. But going back to what you were saying, and then just it was just getting into a rhythm and getting into a grind. And one of the things that really helped the channel take off, as much as I hate to say it, was the pandemic.
Yeah.
I don't know what state you're in, but I'm in Florida. Florida, the state never closed.
Right.
So I know a lot of states shut down, and I was really kind of only one of the maybe like a handful of guys that were still going around putting out content. And at that time, and since we were doing that, it helped grow the channel, pretty quickly. So, and then it helped get us all out there and everything like that. So, I mean, it was a fun time, but over a certain amount of time, it stops becoming fun.
Yeah.
And it feels like more of a job than anything. And I just, I didn't like where it was going. And I needed a break. I mean, listen, putting out content for 5 years straight. Listen, I put out a Tuesday video for 5 years straight without missing a Tuesday video. I mean, that would, to me, in my mind, that's a sense of accomplishment.
Absolutely.
But whether I was sick or I had other things going on, I always made sure that I had a video ready to go on Tuesday, and I took pride in that. And and I think that's and plus all the other stuff we did helped that channel grow. But again, it felt like it was becoming more of a business, and I needed a break, and I didn't like where it was going. So I decided to take a step back and and take a break. So and that's what led me to taking I took 2 months off, if you want to call it that.
Right.
And it's funny because everybody's like, oh, what did you do during that 2 months? Nothing.
Got away from it completely.
Sorry. I connected from basically social media for 2 months. I basically sat on the couch and just watched TV. That's it. That's all I did. I just,
decompressing. Decompressing.
I mean, and then after 2 months, I got tired. I got tired of sitting around doing nothing. And and Syntastic saying, I missed doing the live streams, and I miss interacting with with everybody, because that's the real enjoyment that I got out of this, was connecting with other collectors and just chatting with people and just meeting people in general. One of my favorite things to do is go to these. I don't go to these toy shows just for the sake of going to the toy shows. Go to the toy shows hopefully with the opportunity of being able to meet people.
Right.
Because that's what it's all about, meeting like-minded people. And I missed that. And I felt like I had an idea of how I wanted to come back and the pace that I was going to go at moving forward. And it just and then and besides, I also wanted to kind of do my own thing. So because again, I am a little outlandish. I do say, I do act, a little bit of a fool on camera, but that's just my personality. That's just,
right.
That's just who I am. I like to say what I want and do what I want. And, and sometimes that didn't sit well with people. So I figured, if I can just do my own thing and just be who I want to be, then, it works best for me that way. So again, I mean, and again, I'm back, I'm having fun with it again. I'm not putting out content at the rate that I was putting out. If I put out a video maybe once a week or every other week, then when I have time, so be it. It's not, I'm not in a race. I'm not trying to compete with anybody. I just want to do what I feel is fun. So
yeah. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And does that feel kind of liberating now that you're on your own pace and you're like, I can go at my speed, and if I don't feel like doing a video, I'm just not going to do one.
You- and it's funny that you said that because so like yesterday yesterday morning I get up, I get out of bed, start doing some of my family stuff, and my wife looks at me and she's like, oh, are you gonna go out? She's like, are you gonna go out and film today? I'm like, nah, I don't feel like it.
There
you
you
know
go, man. There you go.
so
See?
so I mean it's funny because normally you would get like a quick yes out of me, like, yeah, I need to go out and I need to go film something. But I was just like, man, I don't feel
No,
like doing anything. I feel like I just want to sit home all day and just do
there you go.
nothing.
There you go.
So
And the obligation, see, when you get that obligation, it feels like a job. You don't want it to feel like a
exact
job. You probably
exactly.
you got a day job. You don't need this to feel like a
Yeah,
job.
I listen. I have a
You know,
regular 9 to 5,
right?
9 to 5, Monday through Friday. I don't want to, feel like I'm constantly grinding, and that's and again, that's what I felt like. I felt like I was constantly grinding, and it's nice not to have to stress about keeping that pace.
Yeah,
So
exactly. And we talk about that a lot on the show all the time. That if it starts to get to that point, I've had to take breaks where I'm like, okay, a couple months, and I just need, just like you, decompress, get away from it for a little bit. But like you said, you always get this itch to come back, and you're like, it's almost
oh,
an addiction. It's almost like, come on, we
it
gotta,
is.
you
It
know, it
is.
it kind of gets the juices flowing, and you kind of get that,
It it it
that
it
thing.
it 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 is, man. I mean, and again, like, like it was funny because like I knew I was gonna meet up with all the guys in Atlanta
Mhm.
because that's our once a year, get together. But it's just funny though because like, all the guys are like, hey, are you gonna film? And I'm like, like, I don't know if I want to come back. I don't know what I want to do. So I packed the camera with me just in case.
Right.
And then, as we're driving, as we're driving up, it's like a 10-hour drive. And I'm driving and I'm like, getting zoning out. And I'm just like, I'm like, would it be such a bad thing if I filmed and see what kind of reaction or what kind of response I would get? I mean, because when I put out the goodbye video, um, it was really very heartfelt and really amazing about how everybody felt, because again, listen, people watch your videos, but not everybody leaves
Oh,
comments,
absolutely, absolutely. Mhm.
so the fact that people were leaving comments like, hey, I watch your videos for years but I've never left a comment, sorry to see you go, and people just message me on Instagram or through Facebook and all that stuff. I mean, I didn't realize that I had that effect or that far of a reach,
Right.
so it was very eye opening, and it felt very rewarding because of all the effort and everything that I put into it, to know that people felt that way about me. So and again, like that's the reason why I wanted to come back, because I wanted to, like, I was joking with the guys, like I was like, I want to reconnect with the mothership. It's like
Yeah,
it's like
right.
I gotta jump back in. So
Sure, sure. I get it, man. Do you think you gave into a little bit of peer pressure there in Toylanta, maybe a little bit, or was it you
no,
brought your camera, so I guess you did have the intention
I
of doing it.
I mean, I again, dude, when you're sitting, or and I mean, listen, and I can't speak for everybody else, but I can speak for myself. When you're sitting around and you get lost in your own thoughts, you sit there and you're like, okay, what would it take for me to come back?
Well, not yeah,
Um,
exactly,
you
exactly.
you you know, what would it take for me to come back? How do I want to be perceived? What do I want to do? Do I want to do anything different this time around? And you think about these things, and again, sorry everybody, I'm getting over being sick. Um, you know, you 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 just don't know how you're going to feel about it until you decide to jump back in. So I put out that video that I'm back. It was just a quick three minute video, just telling everybody what's going on and what they can expect. And again, people showed up, people came out, people left comments. They're like, oh my god, this is the best day ever. I can't believe this. Oh my god, he's back, thank you so much. We missed you. Nerd Affiliated's killing me. Seth Bayer Cody.
The Archer's always on, man. He's
Yeah.
always on.
but but again, at the end of the day, it's got to be what's good for me and what makes me happy. I'm happy I'm back. I'm happy I'm reconnecting with everybody. You know, I was trying to figure out, you know, what I wanted what I wanted this channel to be about. Um, did I really want it just to limit to myself to toys, or did I want to do other things? So again, you got all these ideas and thoughts running through your head.
Sure.
And the great thing is that I don't have to discuss anything with anybody anymore. I just do whatever I want now. So it's like, I'm free to let my creativity flow and see where it takes me. So
Yeah, and that's got to be very, like I said, that's got to be very liberating for you. That you're.
I'm a peacock, damn it! You got to let me fly.
Let him spread his wings. That's what you got to do, man. Absolutely, absolutely. While we're talking, a lot of people came in, so let me welcome all these guys. Don't want to ignore these guys too. So we have got Archer. What's up, man? Nerd Affiliated, the good old General Kenobi. We got Duff Man. We got Michael Cherry. Who else we got here? I think that's it that rolled in while we were talking. So, all right, man. So that all being said, what do you think the goal for your new channel is right now?
I honestly don't have a goal in mind. I kind of just want to see where it takes me.
Sure.
On the old channel, I was pretty goal driven. I had a goal that I wanted to reach, and I didn't hit that goal. And and again, I'm not a competitive person, but if you push me to that point, I will become competitive. Back on the old channel, I think we were only maybe 4,000 or 5,000 subscribers at that time. And something had happened with somebody, and it kind of, I always joke, I don't know, are you familiar with wrestling, Phil?
Yep.
Okay, so it's like Randy Orton, it took me to my dark place.
You went to the you started hearing the voices, did you?
I can't hear you. Did something happen?
Still there? Let's see here. You there? Can you hear me?
My headset crapped out.
Guys on the chat, can you hear me okay?
Hold on a sec.
No, you're good.
Technical difficulties.
Guys on the chat, let me know if you can hear me. Okay, they hear both of us.
Fix my audio. You there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
All right. Oh, you can hear me, but I can't hear you.
It's never good. Let's see. All right, let's try. How about now?
We're having difficulties. I don't know why.
How about now, Seth? Can you hear me now? All over again. How about now? You don't hear me? Oh, great.
All right.
All right, am I back? You got me?
Yeah, now I got you.
Cool. Good. I got you too.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Okay. Unbelievable.
Freaking technical difficulties. So, I don't even remember what the hell the question was.
No. So back to the story. So back to the story. Randy Orton went to my dark place, and I purposely went out of my way to make sure that it was another incident I had with another YouTuber, but I purposely went out of my way to make sure that I surpassed that person in subscriber count, because I got pissed off. And when I get pissed off, I get very laser focused. I'm very driven, and basically I told everybody, I'm like, just stay the fuck out of my way. I'm going to put my foot to the pedal, and I'm not taking my foot off the gas. And that's what that's what I did. Now, when something like that happens, it affects other people around you,
Absolutely.
and I don't like to go to that place, but it's again, so I can, if something like that does happen, obviously now I'm a little bit more older. I'm a little bit more wiser. I've been around the block a little bit more. I might handle that situation a little bit differently this time around. But I'm not trying to be in direct competition with anybody. I really don't care about that. I just want to go out. I just want to have fun. I want to have a good time, and I just want to share my, I guess if you want to call it, my misadventures, with people. So it's like, and I also look at it too as like these videos as like a legacy thing,
Sure.
like kind of like almost like home videos, like something your kid, after my time is long come and gone on this earth, my kids can show, my sons can show the grandkids, like, hey, that's your grandfather, wasn't he such a jackass? It's like, and that's really what it's about. It's about, keeping a legacy, keeping, I guess if you want to call historical documentation, whatever, really
Absolutely.
whatever you want to call it. So I mean, that's kind of how I'm looking at things these days.
Yeah, and we talk about a lot about that on this show. I don't know if you know who Ed is from Rebels, Reptiles, and Games, but him and I have a lot of the same philosophy where it's like it's almost a documentary of your life that your kids can see later on and
Right.
be like, "Wow, my dad did this, my uncle did this." It's really cool. Something that you and I could never see from our parents back in the day. We'd have to pop in the old VHS and
Oh my, yeah.
look at
Well,
that,
that,
and it's
yeah.
like,
Can you
that's a
even find? Can you even find a
I don't
VHS
even
player
think you
anymore?
can, man. If you can maybe find one on eBay or something, but it's like it's such a cool way to document a hobby,
Yeah.
and the people that you get to meet, it's just a cool thing. So, man, absolutely. Rolando, there's the MVP of YouTube. There he is, and we got Joe from JMC Collects. I know you just talked to Joe and Colin a couple weeks ago. Caught some of that.
Yeah, second time I was on what is it, the what effing figures,
Yep. Yep.
well, that effing figures, yeah, yeah, Joe and Colin are good people,
Good
so
dudes. They are.
we always have good conversation when we're chatting, so and that, again, that's what I like. I like just chatting it up with people and having fun and see where the conversation goes.
Yeah. So with you being back, when you came back, did you kind of think that you might have a little bit of a, I don't want to say responsibility, but maybe to kind of help out new YouTubers? Do you kind of want to, is that part of your, what you want to do in YouTube is maybe kind of show some new guys along the way and give them maybe some heads up on here, maybe I missed this, this can probably help you with your
Um,
channel or
you know, I've always told this to people, and and Joe and Nerd Affiliated and anyone else's show I've ever done. Um, if you guys, I'm a very accessible person to reach. You can message me on Instagram, you can comment on YouTube, and I'll respond most of the time. Um, I've always told this to, like, and especially with you in your case, if you ever have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm always there, willing to give advice, willing to help out. You might not agree with my advice, but maybe you know looking at something from someone else's perspective might help a certain situation. I said it on Dre
yep,
on Dre's show too, and that's the thing. I'm not above anybody else, nor do I ever feel like I'm above anybody else. I always try to help out whenever I can, if anyone has any questions, especially about YouTube, or the back end of YouTube, or any kind of equipment questions. People have messaged me all the time over the years. Oh, what type of camera do you use? What type of computer do you use? What is your setup? What does your setup look like? I always try to help everybody out. I try to help answer the questions to the best of my ability. If I don't know the answer, I'll point you in the direction of someone who can at least help you.
sure, sure,
So, I always try out, because, like I always said, like, when I first started, I had no one to help me,
right.
and I know what it feels like. Um, not yeah,
Archer, I tell
yeah,
you.
you know, and and that's and that's the and that's the thing. It's like I didn't have anybody to help me. So it's
Right.
like, I know what the feeling is like, kind of like wandering around being lost and not knowing this. And, you know, over the years, I've created a pretty good support system of people around me who can help me if I need, if I need something, if I have questions on things, or if they have questions, they know they can come to me. I mean, there's a lot of things I've learned over the years, especially in the back end of YouTube that a lot of people don't know about. So
Right. 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 Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. I say it every week. Like I see the same guys in my chat every single week with this show, and the support's amazing. You
and
know
that's
this better than anybody that the support in this community
yep.
is fantastic.
You build a community around you,
Yep.
and and that's the thing. Who cares if they're the same people? They're there because they genuinely like you and they support what you're
Exactly.
doing, and that
Exactly.
and that's it. And again, I don't need to go out and I don't need to worry about getting a million views on a video or any of that. I don't care. Here. I'll pull back the curtain, because I don't mind pulling back the curtain,
Go
because
for it, man.
I'm
Absolutely.
all about transparency these days. Um, I just got an email from YouTube. What was it, last week? That I can monetize my channel, my new channel now. I have no interest in monetizing my channel.
Really?
I
Why
have
not?
no interest, because you know what? Money brings out the worst in people.
That is very true. That is very true.
um and that's the fact. I have a very um creative mind, and I have a lot of things that I want to do, and a lot of those things don't work with monetizing the channel.
Right.
Like I like my intro that I have for my videos now. I like using cult of personality as my thing. And if I do that, and if I keep using that, well, then I can't monetize my videos. If I use that, then I have to change my song to something that can be monetized. And I don't like that. I don't want to sacrifice my creativity just to make a quick buck.
Totally get it.
So that's
Absolutely.
that that's how I feel about this. I rather put out a quality video and get a bunch of subscribers from it, and not worry, and then I don't care about making $20 or $30 on a video.
Right. Right. Yeah. No.
Don't need it, don't want it.
Right.
And again, money always complicates things. And I just want this channel to be as very simplistic as possible. So
No. That's awesome, man. Because most of the time, that is the goal for most people, is to get monetized and to
mhm.
start pulling in the little bit of funds. you
Listen,
know, and
I can't speak for what everybody's monetary situation, financial situation is. I mean, listen, I do pretty well for myself. I don't need the money.
mm,
So it's that simple. I don't need the money. So I don't have to, I'm not going to kill myself, and sacrifice my creativity for a quick buck.
yeah,
So
absolutely, man. Absolutely get it. So Mr. Syntastic has a question for you. Here's a quick question: does YouTube push videos that have a copyright claim less?
no, no, and I can say that very, very confidently. Um, I had I had my goodbye video that I did. Um, it had to get taken down because it was screwing things up on the old channel. So it's not a big deal. But but before it got taken down, it had almost like over like 30,000 views.
Mm.
Um, but it was hit with a copyright strike because I used, at the end of the video, anybody that remembers that, I used the sad music from the Incredible Hulk
Yeah, yeah,
video at the end.
yeah.
But again, just because it got dinged didn't mean that the video got pushed out. So the videos get pushed out. It doesn't make a difference whether you have a copyright strike against you. Now, the only thing that might hinder the video is if another country doesn't allow that music,
Mm.
because there are some songs that I've seen in the past that other countries don't allow to be played. So your videos will be blocked in those countries, especially if you have people overseas that watch your videos, especially in those specific areas. Then it might hinder the video a little bit. But other than that, I've never seen a copyright strike hinder a video before.
Okay.
So
All right. Good information. Yeah, that's a great question, Mr. Statistic. I didn't even think about that because I've gotten a couple copyright claims, but it didn't, like you said, it didn't seem to really knock the video down or hurt the
right,
video in any way.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You just can't make money on it. That's all.
Right. Right. Which not going to anyway. So yeah.
Exactly.
So okay, cool. Well, I mean, like I said, great to have you back. I want to get a little bit more into your past and like where toy collecting started for you. So
Ah.
when you were a kid, man, what was your go-to for toys and why was it like your number one
Mm.
thing?
So I've always been a big wrestling fan for as long as I can remember. Um, so all the old school LJN, Hasbro,
Mhm.
Hasbro WWF figures, those were always my go-to figures. I did play with a lot of Transformers back in the day, like the original ones. Ninja Turtles, Super Nintendo, Super what is it, Nintendo, Sega Genesis, all that stuff growing up. But wrestling has always been my go-to thing. And towards the end of the first channel, that kind of I kind of had my passion for wrestling reunited again. So I started selling off like all my hot toys. I started selling off other figures, and I just solely wanted to focus on wrestling. And that's kind of what I did. And then even now, um, I've sold off some more stuff. I've sold off some more stuff, and just continued on with the whole wrestling thing. Wrestling's always been like the one constant for as long as I can remember.
Nice. Nice. Favorite wrestler growing up?
Oh, it's Hogan. Always
I
Hogan.
figured it was.
If you so here, growing up as a
Sorry.
growing up as a kid, Hogan into my 20s, and now where I'm at in my 40s, it's CM Punk. So,
Punk. You
you
think
know,
Punk's coming back? You think
he
he's
is
coming?
coming.
And
Yeah,
if he
he's
is coming
coming
back,
back.
where is he coming back? Is he because he's being
AEW.
spotted behind stage in WWE? So
No, he'll be
AEW.
back in AEW. They're supposed to be announcing this week on Dynamite Wednesday night that they're adding a third show, and it's going to be
Mm,
on Saturday nights, and it's going to be called the Collision. And the basically it's a way that them creating that third show is a way of separating all the people that want to work with CM Punk and all the people that don't want to work. And he's supposed to be coming back when they first their first live thing for that show. It's in Chicago.
of
So
course, of
you
course.
know so
Yeah.
so yeah so he'll be back for that. I think his first feud back, from what I've read and what I've seen, they're talking about him and Jericho um
Okay. No, that's
going
good.
at it. But
Yeah. Yeah.
listen, I've always loved CM Punk, because again, he always touted, I'm the voice of the voiceless. I say the things that nobody wants to, everybody's afraid to say, and that's me. That's me. I say the things that most people are afraid to say. I don't hold back. I put it out there, and that's it. And again, I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I get that. There are people that don't agree with my thoughts, or my ideology, or how I conduct myself. But again, I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it for me.
For you. Yep. Yep.
I want to go out there and have a good time. So that's it. So it's like, that's why I find myself so relatable to CM Punk, and that's why I use cult of personality.
Yeah.
And all that. My old logo was with the X.
Right.
With the
Right.
things. So I mean, again, that's my guy.
Have you ever thrown a pipe bomb out?
Ooh,
If not, are you planning on throwing a pipe bomb? I guess that would be kind of wrong for me to set you up like that if you have a pipe
No,
bomb planned, but maybe you've thrown one out
no,
before. I don't know.
no. I mean, listen, I've had my issues back in the day with Target.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Yeah.
where especially when I was collecting pops, I did a video when they first, and I feel that this is the video that kind of put me on the map. When everyone reaches a certain point on YouTube, they feel like they can look back and they have that one video that kind of like got them out there.
Yep.
And that was my one video. They had just come out with the ad icons for the first time. So it was like Bazooka Joe, Captain Crunch, the
Mhm,
Honey
mhm.
Smacks and
I
Sugar,
remember that.
Sugar
Yep.
Bear, those four guys. So I did a whole video. There's a Target across the street from my office where I work. I was the first one there. Anybody that collected Funko back in the day knows that even when they're supposed to drop on a certain date, either they have it, they don't have it, or the box is lost somewhere in the back, and they give you an excuse that they can't go
Right,
look for
right.
it. I mean, it's just the way it was just the
The
way
way
of the
it is.
world back then.
Mhm.
Um, so, um, with that being said, they couldn't find. I got there. There was a line of people along with me. The guy couldn't find the box. I waited there until like 10 o'clock in the morning. So I said, "Screw it." So I left my phone number with the employee, and there was another guy in line that knew who I was because we've ran into each other before in the past. So I get in my car. I go across. I'm pulling into the parking lot at work, and all of a sudden, um, the guy in line calls me. He goes, "Hey," he goes, "they found the box. Get back here." So I turn back around, I get in there, and I see everyone that was behind me
Oh,
walking out, and I got left with all the damaged boxes. Now, when I was collecting Funko, I was an inbox collector, but at this point, I didn't care. I bought them, and I went into my car, showed them off on the video, and then I just let a stream of obscenities just come flying out of my mouth
uh,
about Target, about the situation, about how I felt. And I came home, I edited the video, I got it uploaded. When I went to bed, I think I only had maybe like 300-400 views on it. I woke up the next morning, I had over like 2,500
oh
views
man.
on it. And I was like, holy crap, what the hell is going on? And I had so many thumbs down on that video, and a whole bunch of people that were, I guess, so-called Target employees left nasty comments on the video. And then one of my buddies who's in a Facebook group, the Facebook group is called Confessions of Target Employees.
Oh,
He
oh.
sent you have to I guess you have to be a Target employee to get into that group, but I don't know how he got into that group. He sent me a screenshot. The thumbnail of my video and the link of my video were front and center on that Facebook group page, and I was like, well, that explains it.
There you
And
go.
then ever since then, the lore of I guess the old name What's Poppin' took off at that time. And it was funny because I had so many people like leaving hate comments in that video. I also had other people saying like, "Oh, you're the hero of the Funko community. Thanks for speaking up about this." You know, and again, like and that's the thing too. Like, there are a lot of people that do YouTube, and I'm not knocking people, so don't take this out of context. There are people who try to keep it clean and try to be professional because they want to be in hopes of getting sponsorships and companies sending them products to review and stuff like that. I don't care about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't care about that. So that's why I like going out and saying and doing what I want to do, because yeah, it's cool that companies want to send people stuff, but that's just not how I operate. I
Right.
want to be able to say what I feel. So,
Well,
and trust me, Target heard my voice that day.
I'll call that a pipe bomb. Yeah, I mean, that's the philosophy. I mean, all these guys will back this up. Be yourself. That's the thing. Be
Yeah,
yourself. Don't
exactly.
don't 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 be somebody that you're not. There's plenty of YouTubers who are completely different on YouTube as they are
Right.
in real life. It's so
and
fake. You can tell when
and
it's fake, you know.
and that's the, and again, like, that's the thing, like, people, people that have met me in person, the way I am on camera is the same way I am off camera. I don't deviate from who I am. I mean, I might, there might be times where I get into a conversation and I might talk a little bit more eloquently than I do on
Sure.
camera.
Sure.
But yeah, what with me, what you see is what you get. You don't get anything other than that.
Yep. Yep. That's awesome, man. Absolutely. I had a couple questions for you as we were talking. Let me
Sure.
see. Let me get back to them real quick. Okay. So Archer wants to know if you could remake Tango and Cash, who are you casting, or are we bringing Sly and Kurt back?
Okay, so here's my thought process on remaking movies. Um, Movies should just never be remade.
Totally agree. I totally agree.
Old movies should never be remade. I
No.
mean, you're telling me with all these writers and all the creativity out in the world, people can't come up with anything original. They got to remake old. They got to remake old movies.
Well,
I
it's
hate.
all
I
it's all
hate that because
remakes or
that just
sequel right now, man.
yeah. I
That's
hate
all it
that because
is.
to me that just shows no creativity.
Well, and then the writers go
Where's
on
your
strike.
yeah, where's
You know.
your where's the imagination? Yeah, they might remake the movie and they might tweak a couple of things to make it more adequate to today's time. But no, don't remake stuff. Leave stuff alone.
Absolutely, man. I totally agree
So
with
so
that.
no, I don't have an answer for that. And I refuse to answer that question with prejudice.
Archer, ask questions that we actually can answer. Oh man. Okay. So wrestling. Wrestling's your thing. Where are you on the wrestling spectrum right now? Are you more AEW or WWE right now?
I fall somewhere in the middle. Just because I can see things from both sides. You know, WWE is more story driven
Definitely.
than AEW. AEW is just about putting matches together. They haven't really have done long term storytelling. So so again, AEW is just if you want to sit back and you just want to watch some wrestling matches and watch some good, some good wrestling matches. You like the long term storytelling, then WWE. I like a little bit of both. I like some of the wrestlers that are in over in AEW. I like a lot of the wrestlers that are in WWE. Was I not? I really wasn't excited. Um, about how they did WrestleMania this year. I thought this was one of the worst WrestleManias that they've done to date. Um, the whole thing was about Cody Rhodes. Gotta finish the story. You gotta complete the story, and then
Yeah.
they just dug that knife right into you, and Roman won again. Roman won again,
Yeah.
and it's interesting, but again, it's long-term storytelling. Now that they've had the ability to go into a little bit more depth with Cody's story right now, they're basically recreating um his dad's storyline from when his dad was trying to capture the NWA world title. They're calling it the hard times storyline, where he has a whole bunch of challenges he has to face before he can even win the championship. I mean think about it. Cody came back at Mania, and then he had those matches with Seth. He had that storyline going with Seth, and then he tore his pec.
Prospect. Yep.
He was out for, I think, like almost like 9 months, six
Yeah,
to
8 or
nine
9
months, or something
months.
like
Yeah.
that. So think about the time span that he was out and all the matches he could have had, and all the struggles he could have gone to get to Roman at this year's WrestleMania. Which, if that was the case and he didn't get hurt, I'm sure he would have won it at this year's
I agree.
WrestleMania. But the thing is, he was out. He came back. He won the Rumble. He only had like 3 matches before his match with Roman at Mania. So it's like there was really not enough time to build a storyline. So after thinking about everything, then yeah, it kind of made sense why they had him lose
Yeah, I
to
mean,
Roman.
man, honestly, in my opinion, I felt rushed. I would have rather seen like a Seth Rollins in that spot, and then build Cody
Right.
after that or something. But and then having him announced for the Rumble just seemed weird to me. It seemed, usually they save that for it's like it's a surprise for the 30th
Well,
entrant. It's going to be
they
Rock or it's going
wanted,
to be a Cody, and it's like,
yeah,
you know,
they wanted to they wanted to build up the hype for the Rumble.
sure,
Me personally, like I was okay. I mean, like at first I was kind of like, well, why wouldn't they keep that a surprise? And then I'm like, okay. But then when he came out at 30, I was just like, really? I was like, you should have had him come out maybe somewhere in the teens. That way at least it could show him struggling a little bit during the Rumble to win the Rumble, not just having him come in at 30 and then he wins. I mean,
it was so obvious. It was so obvious. There was
exactly.
Gunther, by the way, is an absolute beast. I love Gunther.
Oh, that dude's
I
a
think he's
machine.
fantastic, man. I think, world champ's coming in his direction really quick.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
like I said, there was no suspense to it. They like you said, WWE prides themselves on long storytelling, but sometimes they really lose the way, and it's like, okay, we saw that coming about 6 months ago,
Yeah.
So it's like I'm with you on that, man. Another question. Okay, who do you think is going to turn in the bloodline?
I think it's going to be Jimmy. Jimmy's been Jimmy, see that's the problem with like certain tag teams. They reach a point where they've done everything as a tag team and you want to try to see what they can do as individual competitors. So, I mean, I see Jimmy at some point. If not Jimmy, it's definitely going to be Solo.
I agree with Solo. Yep.
I kind of feel that, maybe at some point, you might have Solo fight Roman for the whole head of the table thing. Who knows?
Definitely.
I mean, me personally, I think they should have The Rock fight Roman at some point. But who knows when that's going to happen.
They've been saying that for years and years and years.
It makes sense. It makes sense. Again, the story writes itself. I mean, that's the problem. A lot of these stories write itself, and they just don't take advantage of it.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. Let's see, another question. When does Captain Powerlift dethrone Roman?
I lost you again. Hold on.
I
think it's my headset.
Okay. You guys in the chat still hear me okay? Wouldn't be a good show without technical difficulties, guys. How about now? Still good? Okay. Loud and clear. All right. Thank you, guys. Guys, appreciate your comments. I'm trying to get back to them. No one can tell on the other Swayze.
All right, you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
All right, we're back.
Okay.
Yeah, it's time I get new headphones. I've had these headphones forever.
You're all good, man. No problem.
It's time I need new ones.
It's all good.
But yeah, but yeah, man. I mean, again, eventually we'll see. We'll see what happens with all that stuff. I'm sure. Listen, as long as Triple H is behind everything and Vince keeps his hands clear of it, it should be good because people like this Triple H era style of storytelling. So hopefully, it'll continue to go that path.
Yeah, I hope it does. So back to the toys. What's your go-to right now other than wrestling? I know you've been Mythic Legions, and I know you've been trying to customize. How's that customize going? You're learning from Dub, aren't you?
Yes. So let's just get down to the brass tacks.
Okay.
So I had kind of knew about Mythic Legions before when we went to Toylanta, not this past year, but the year before. And, seeing all the guys, buying them kind of piqued my interest. And, I like the gladiator style looking ones. I like the knights. And I was like, okay, those are kind of cool. Let me pick it up. Let me see. So I did a review on 2 of them, I think, on the other channel. And then I kind of sent them off to other people, like I traded and stuff like that, just because I didn't get into it. I didn't give myself enough time to really get into it, and I didn't really know the backstory about everything. So, um, you know, Jeff, Slap Happy Toys, OG Geek, Big Dub, David, Dark Collectibles, Ron, Century the Mad Collector, Ken Pool, all those guys were diving headfirst into that. And I was just kind of like, all right, I'm like, let me give it another shot. Let me see if I can really, really get into this. And then I joined, the Mythic Legion's Facebook groups and all this stuff, and getting to see all the cool stuff that people were doing with these, where they were buying multiple figures, different figures, not the same characters, but they were taking the parts and swapping them out and repainting the figures and all that stuff. I was like, and they were doing a thing where they would they would take a hodgepodge of pieces, make this new figure from all these other figures, paint it, and then what they do is that they create a backstory for the character that they created.
Nice.
So I was like, well, that seems kind of fun. So when we were at Toylanta this past year, the Mythic Legions guys were there, the four horsemen were there, and looking at all the figures, there was a lot of cool figures. And, I bought a couple, and, I started, when I saw everything that all these guys were doing with it, and I was like, all right, well, let me try this. So I sat down, and I've been painting the same figure now for like 2 weeks. Just because I have a vision of what I want it to look like. And it's almost done, and when it's done, I'll post pictures of it, but it's cool though, because you can buy multiple figures and not have the same characters and just remake your own figures just by swapping parts.
Sure.
So I was like, that's different. That's kind of cool.
Absolutely.
That's different. I mean, I wouldn't say it's like customizing. I mean, the painting part of it's customizing, but like swapping the parts is just kind of like, you're just, throwing stuff together and see what kind of sticks. But it's cool though that the parts are swappable. You can create your own characters. You can paint everything. The detail on the figures is great. The articulation on them are really, really good. So it's cool, and it's something different. I'm not going out and buying every single Mythic Legions figures. I'm just buying the ones that I like. And I think that's where I know Dub has every single Mythic Legions figure ever. I think David Dark Collectibles does. I think Ron, Century Mad Collector, does too. And I know Kent's been buying them like left and right. I know Kent likes to do a lot of the skeletons and stuff like that. But again, it's what you're into. Like me, I like the knights and the Greco-Roman gladiators. I like the human guys. I don't like the orc, the ogres and the wizards and stuff like that. I like the more human looking style characters. Right. So that's kind of what I'm sticking to right now. I'm still buying wrestling figures. I'm still trying to track down AEW chases. I'm getting Ultimate Edition figures as they're coming out. I stopped buying all the regular AEW figures. The ones that I want to buy for AEW now, along with the chases, are just the Supreme figures, which are just their versions of the Ultimate Edition figures. Because if I'm gonna have one figure of each character, it needs to be that best representation. And I feel that's why I like the Ultimate Edition figures so much, and the Supreme figures, because it's that best representation of that figure, plus all the extra accessories and stuff that they come with.
Definitely. Yeah. Do they actually market Mythic Legions as having swappable parts? Do they market it? Do they
for what, Mythic Legions?
Yeah, for Mythic Legions.
I don't think they market it that way. I think that's just what the community has done. There are a lot of customizers in the Mythic Legions community, and to see some of the work that these guys put out is really cool. There's a lot of customizers in there, and what they do is that they a lot of them do 3D printing
Mhm.
So they do aftermarket 3D printing for aftermarket for like different heads, different creatures, or different weapons or different body parts. And they either paint them and you can buy them completed, or you can buy them unpainted and you can paint them yourself, if you're that good. So I mean, it's cool though. I mean, I don't think they market it that way, but I think a lot of people over the years have just kind of stumbled upon it. And again, I'm still new to this, so I might be speaking out of turn, but this is from what I gathered, this is what I know.
Nice, nice. No, that's always good. I mean, any
Mm.
little extra that you can add to it. And the consensus in the chat is that a lot of people are like, they've thought about it. They look cool. I've seen them. I've held them, messed with them. They're very high quality. Four
They
Horsemen's
are.
always done great work. I actually did pre-order the glow in the dark headless horseman because that's just too freaking
Oh, that thing.
cool.
And
That
well,
thing's
see, and
awesome.
like that, but like that's the thing. The headless horseman is not really mythic legions. It's what
Right.
they call figure obscure.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
so you can kind of incorporate that into anything you want. It technically doesn't fall into the mythic legions line.
Gotcha. Gotcha. But Four Horsemen, they've always done great work.
Oh
Always.
yeah,
Always.
they kill it with what they do.
Yeah. Let's welcome Colin from EC Collecting. What's up, man? Thanks for being on here. And
Colin.
Mr. Fantastic says, I think Mattel Wrestling is the best toy line going right now. Would you agree with that, Seth?
Um, I concur.
Okay.
I think I think the ultimate edition figures are the way to go. I think they hit a little bit of a setback this time with the crowdfunding for the Nitro entrance.
Yeah, that didn't go well.
My whole take on that is that they should have put the ring out first before they did, because ringside has the exclusive for the Nitro ring, and it comes with an Eric Bischoff Ultimate Edition figure,
Oh,
which they should have released that first and then announced the stage, because then people are going to be like, oh, well, I have the ring. I'm like, I definitely need the stage now. So you can't really compare it to what they did with the new gen ring, because with the new gen ring you had the entrance, you had the ring, and you had the two figures. And also, if you backed it early enough, you got the Macho Man with the with the announce table
right.
and,
Right.
and everything. So that was a good one-off for them to try first. But I think in order to sell like entrances and stages and stuff like that, you need to have the ring out first, because then you're going to have your completists going to be like, oh, well, I need to have that. There's no WCW ring. So people are going to be like, well, why am I going to back this if I don't have a WCW ring?
Exactly.
I backed it not so much for the stage. I wanted the Scott Steiner and the DDP. I don't care about Hogan and Warrior. I mean, fucking, how many more Hogan and Warriors do we need?
Already flooded with them, Did you think the price was fair on that?
Well, so for the ring, for the the new gen, it was like 250. It was like 250 to back it. I mean, for the size of it and what it came with, I think if they hit it around maybe like the 300, 320, 350 price point, it would have been a little bit easier. I think 400 is a lot.
Yeah.
Me personally, I would have rather have seen them come out with the Raw Titantron stage,
Definitely,
from the Attitude Era before any WCW stuff, because you already have the Attitude Era ring out. So it would have made sense for them to put the Titantron out.
Yeah.
But who knows what's going to happen now?
Yeah,
who knows if who even knows if we'll get that?
Yeah. Crowdfunding, it's just
It's
hit or miss. A shot
It's
in the
hit or
dark,
miss.
man. You just never know. You never know. Arch. Okay, so actually, Dre's got another question. Are you still in Hot Toys? I think you said you sold all your Hot Toys, right?
I've sold most of them, but I've kept the ones that go with like my 80s, 90s action shelf that I have. So like I've got a Schwarzenegger from Commando. I've got, I have the Terminator Hot Toys. I have the 3-0 Rambo, Rambo figures. So, I still have some, but not all. I mean, I still have the Hulkbuster. The Hulkbuster's still sitting here, but that's
nice.
that's kind of like nostalgia. So it's like it's kind of
yeah.
hard to get rid
That's
of
the
that.
hard one to let go of, man.
Yeah.
That's a hard one. T3, what's up, Carlos? Thanks for being here, buddy. Archer's got another question for you. Have you tried Super 7 Conan figures?
I
They
have
just released a
I
new
have
wave of those.
I have Super 7 Conan figures.
What do you
I
think of
just
them?
don't have them. I just don't have them on display. They're sitting in a
Oh,
box
gotcha.
with a
Gotcha.
bunch of other stuff that have just piled up that I haven't had a chance to open yet.
What'd you think of the new ones
So
they showed? I think that was a couple weeks ago.
yeah, they're cool. I mean, but they've already made those characters already. Other than
Yeah.
the girl and the sidekick guy, they've already made a bunch of Schwarzeneggers, and they already made a James Earl Jones from the first wave. So it's like, do we really need more of those?
No.
So yeah,
Super 7, they've been really dicey on the QC too. I mean,
yeah.
I've dabbled in the Turtles line, and the joints are about ready to break off as soon as you pull them out of the
Yeah,
box.
I have the Conan figures. The only other Super 7 figures I have are the what is it? The ones from the Major Wrestling Figure podcast. I've got the Matt and Brian.
Nice. All right, man. Well, we're at the hour. That went by quick. I didn't even get to all my questions, man.
That's what you'll have to have me back.
I will have you back, sure, dude. Thank you again so much for being on the show. Really appreciate it. All you guys in the chat, thank you so much, Seth. Not that you need it, but I'm going to give you a chance to plug yourself. Tell us where we can find you. Tell us what you're planning, what's on the horizon.
These days it's actually pretty simple. If you just go on YouTube and type in my name, guess what? I come up.
There he is. There he is.
So pretty simple there. And the same thing on Instagram. That's kind of where most of my lurking is done these days, is on YouTube and Instagram. So yeah, if you guys want to follow me there, I think I'm like 75. I think I'm like 75 subscribers away from hitting 2,000.
Nice, man.
2,000 subscribers already on YouTube, which is great because I didn't expect to get that quick of a following back. So so that's really cool. So if you guys haven't done that, make sure you do that. And yeah, don't worry about me. You need to go check out my man Yukon Phil. I mean, I love the name of the show, Yakin with Yukon. I like that. That's
Thanks,
a good
man.
one.
I couldn't think of anything that started with a Y. I didn't.
My headset cut out again.
Yelling with Yukon to be weird. His
Time
headset's
for a new
going.
headset.
You still there?
As soon
man?
as this stream's over, I'm getting a new headset.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. All right. Well, thank you again for being on, man. I really appreciate it. All you guys in the chat, thank you so much for showing up, for being on it. A couple things from me. New toy video dropped yesterday, so go check that out. Yeah, there's not a lot out there that I'm looking for, so go check that out. And the next week, we've got Collecting Star Wars. We got Steve-O. Guys, I'm telling you, one of my favorite YouTubers. If you haven't checked out Collecting Star Wars, go check him out. So he will be on next week. Seth, thank you again so much for coming.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on. It was great seeing everybody in the chat. Thanks for the questions, and yeah, just let me know, man. We'll do it again. We'll do it again. Do it again soon.
Absolutely. And you, just so you know, you set a record for this show for most people on at once. So
for real?
You.
Oh,
for real.
Well, hey,
Just
well, that's not for me. That's for you.
No, it ain't for me. So, all right, guys. Well, everybody watching, appreciate you guys watching. You guys have a good one. We'll see you next week with Collecting Star Wars. You guys have a good one.